I've been waiting way too long. Take my hand, I wanna show you something. Promise I've been dying to see ya. They say the grass ain't always greener. I guess what they're saying is true. In my dreams, that's where I seen her. Take my heart and take all of me, girl. Let me show you what I wanna do. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you. Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here? Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Yeah, where do we go from here? Are you listening, darling? Are you listening, darling? Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here?
Hello and welcome back everybody to yet another live stream where, of course, today, as always, we will run through the Bitcoin technical analysis. We will take a look at what is currently going on, what I'm currently doing, what I'm looking for, of course, and yeah, those next trades that I am interested in taking. So yeah, if that all sounds interesting, please do make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Helps me out, helps the channel out, and of course I can continue to bring this content to you. And yeah, let's jump straight on into the charts and take a look at what is going on. So still very quiet, in all honesty. Still very, very quiet. Nothing too exciting going on at this moment in time. We are seeing a little bit of a pullback here, okay, which in all honesty is to be expected. Okay, we've seen so much price action towards the upside that if we want to see this upside continue, pullbacks are necessary. So yeah, this is absolutely nothing to worry about, and it does actually give us opportunities to, of course, look for new long trades as price pulls back. We are not in any area that I deem high probabilities in terms of, high probability long trade area. So I'm still remaining a little bit more patient, just remaining a little bit more patient, waiting for what I would deem a higher probability key level. I mean, we are at support at this moment in time, and of course I will cover the support that we are at and what we're kind of seeing off of this support level, but I don't deem it a high probability support area, especially with what we are doing at this moment in time. But yeah, I will, of course, cover all of that. So, I mean, let's start off with, of course, why we are pulling back here. Of course, that is, that is the thumbnail of the video. Why is Bitcoin dumping? You can call this a dump. It's not really a dump. I understand that. It's just a very slight pullback, of course. But, there is a possibility, of course, that it could lead potentially to a bigger correction. That, of course, is a possibility. But the reason why we are seeing this pullback is basically off of a very, very simple failed auction, okay, of an all-time high. So let me just get rid of this anchor view up quick here. So yeah, on a lower time frame here, we had a very simple failed auction, as you can see here, of the all-time high on this 10-minute chart. I did not take this trade, but I did say to the team that that there potentially will be a valid trade from here, but I won't be interested in taking it unless it's screaming at me in the face, i.e. Hundreds of millions of longs opening up. We didn't see that. Okay, we didn't see hundreds of millions of longs open up, but we did see a lot of longs open up there, in all honesty. We formed the failed auction, and what did we see? We saw this big pullback here. So that is why we are pulling back. If we take a look at the order flow as well, we can see that on this huge move towards the upside anyway, okay, all the way up to the all-time high, which was close to, very, very close to $108,500. So $108,450 was the all-time high. And coming into this, of course, we saw lots of new long trades opening up. So back here, okay, we saw 69 million here, we saw 32 million here, we saw 127 million here. Now, all of these are, a lot of these are offside at this moment in time. So of course, we'll cover that as well. We've seen 6.3 million, a little bit higher. We saw 40 million, even higher. Okay, and then we saw 11 million up here as well. So we've seen a lot of long trades open up at the high. Okay, and as you can see, as price was pulling back, what did we see? Well, we saw a huge decrease in open interest with, of course, negative delta as well. So we've seen a lot of these long trades actually being forced to cover, which is what you would expect. So initially, what we have seen is, a few short trades have opened up as well. Actually, quite a considerable amount, in all honesty, at the low here. But a lot of this move was made. The bigger part of the move was mainly fueled by long trades getting wrecked. Okay, so long trades getting wrecked, and we did see quite a bit of a long squeeze, right? Squeezing out all of those longs. Of course, longs covering is sells coming into the market. So when sells are coming into the market, you would expect price to pull back, of course. That's initially why we've seen price pull back. However, we are, of course, coming into support. Like I said, we are coming into support. Now, again, I've covered in the previous live streams, I've covered with the team as well, what levels I'm kind of interested in, of course, and we'll talk about these briefly as well again today. But the support that we are at this moment in time is actually, this the top of this gap that we have here. So this was the gap from this was from the weekend that, of course, has just been. Okay, we formed the CME gap here. CME gaps, they are in simple terms, areas of support and resistance. Basically, you can just very, very simply look at them as support areas or resistance areas, of course, if you are coming up into one. And it's not ever something that I trade. It's something that I can help with my trades, but I'd never use it really as confluence for a trade. But these levels, okay, if held as support, right, can, of course, you can of course see price continue higher, right? That is exactly what we are doing at this moment in time. This is what I told the team this morning as well. So Bitcoin is currently finding support off of the top of the CME gap at 103,670. Losing this would most likely lead to further downside, i.e. filling the gap. This could bring us down into our potential long setup at approximately $101,000. So we came down into the top of the CME gap at $103,067. We bounced off of it. Okay, we bounced off of the level. And this is, of course, support. Now, like I said here as well, losing this would most likely lead to further downside, i.e. filling the gap. If we were to lose the top of this CME gap here, the expectation would be that the gap would be filled. Okay, yes, it's only a very small move down, okay, but it is something that we can be aware of. And of course, that would, of course, potentially lead to a bigger pullback to, like I said, come into that area of $101,000, where we do potentially have a long trade set up from there. So at this moment in time, that is where we are finding support. And if you take a look at the order flow and you go into the lower time frames, okay, we are actually getting some bullish absorption as well coming into this. Now, again, this is not something that I would usually trade. Okay. Now, is this something that you could trade? Yes, I do think that if you have the confluence there, if CME gaps are something that you trade, okay, I think this could have offered a valid long trade. So what you actually saw here, if we zoom in a little bit more, okay, you can see that we, of course, tested the top of the CME gap. We got a bounce. We came back down to it, tested it again, got a perfect bounce off of it, okay, and we are seeing a move towards the downside, right? So you could have, of course, looked for a long trade off of noticing that we were getting bullish absorption coming into the top of that CME gap, right? For me, I would have liked to look for 3 bits of confluences. So it's kind of, looking for what other confluences are there. And then, of course, if that's the type of trade that you like to take, then okay, that's a valid entry. For me, I have not built statistics on trading that CME gap with other bits of technical analysis tools. But okay, it doesn't mean that it isn't something to consider, right? It could be, if the statistics were built on it, okay, the probabilities, okay, off of that could be quite high, right? And to be honest with you, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, pretty high probabilities off of course, high confluence at CME gap areas. But yeah, I mean, that's currently why we're stalling. That's where we are stalling. Okay, so of course, this could lead to further upside. Okay, this could lead to further upside, potentially making a new all-time high again. Right, that is of course something to consider. But okay, like I said as well, if we do lose that CME gap, I would expect, the top of the CME gap, I would expect the entire gap to be filled. And of course, my mouse has decided to just die on me. That's okay. But of course, that would, in my eyes, lead to a bit of a bigger pullback. And the reason why I think that would lead into a bit of a bigger pullback. So let's go here. So if we were to lose that gap, I do think that we could, see further downside. Okay, maybe we were to see something, along the lines of this. Okay, maybe down to our, intended long opportunities. Okay, down here, and the reason why I think that is a possibility is because, of course, like I stated at the start of the video, start of the live stream, this whole move up here, was fueled by a lot of long trades opening up. Okay, a lot of long trades. You can see huge open interest. Sorry, I'm on the wrong. Let's go here. So you can see, right, big open interest increases. Okay, of course, yes, it got pretty plateau here. We started to see, of course, open interest decreases. Okay, but we did see huge open interest increases, and even here as well. We saw lots of positive delta coming in as well. So we saw lots of long trades opening up. You can see 69 million here, 32 million here, 127 million here, 6.3, 40 million, 11 million. Yes, we've had a lot of them cover, right? But I would say that there is still a lot of them that are still open, a lot of them that are still underwater, and a lot of them who are just in profits as well. And those are the ones that would potentially, be forced to cover next, right? And of course, that could lead to more downside as well. So losing that CME gap for me would put more long trades offside, put the long trades that are already offside into a position where they are forced to cover. And that, of course, would lead to a bigger long squeeze, right? And of course, ultimately, more downside. So that's kind of my opinion off of, losing that CME gap. Now, of course, we've got support at $101,000, in my opinion. So we could come down here. We could hold the support here. We could see lots of short trades opening up, and we could see, of course, price reverse in the opposite direction. That, of course, is what we will be looking for. Sure. That, of course, is what we will be looking for to, of course, take advantage of. Right? We want to take advantage of that if, of course, we see the signs of strength down there. Okay. If we do not see the signs of strength down there, maybe we are seeing weakness, i.e. we come into that level, we lose the level, no sign of strength at all. Okay, then of course we can look to lower levels, right? We can of course look towards the POC at potentially $98,000, right? And if we lose that, of course, we can look towards $92,000, maybe even $90,000 at, of course, that value area low. That it is initially kind of what you're targeting. If you do enter back into that range, that's kind of what you would be initially looking for. And of course, down there, there's also, there's ultimately quite a considerable amount of long trade opportunities. Okay, so it's just a case of, right, are we seeing what we want to see if we are to come down there? If, of course, we do come down there. So yeah, I mean, it's not all it's not all bad. Okay, if we do see it's not all bearish if we do see this pullback. Okay, it just of course gives us good opportunities to get into long trades. Okay, so that's kind of initially what I will be looking for on any pullback, because I do not, again, I've stated this in a lot of these live streams recently, I do not see any major signs of weakness. Okay, yes, there's the odd slight sign of weakness here and there. Maybe you can catch a little bit of a pullback, but there is no major sign of weakness, in my opinion. And of course, I will be looking out for major signs of weaknesses. We went over this yesterday, where I was talking about the major signs of weaknesses that we saw in the previous bull market. Okay, because there were big major signs of weaknesses up there. Okay, and that's of course what I will be looking for. Right, that of course is what I will be looking for. But I do think, right, that we will spend quite a considerable. I would like us, in all honesty, to spend quite a considerable amount of time, again, quite a few weeks, kind of in a big range up here. Okay, maybe between 90,000 to, or maybe even a little bit higher. Maybe it could be 95,000 to, of course, all-time high. Maybe we can see some big range forming up here. And of course, just a huge inflow of long trades that are building, but price is failing to move higher. Okay, and then of course we do end up seeing price maybe move once more to take out the highs. Okay, huge inflow of long trades again, but price just doesn't want to continue higher. We see that pullback. That's a big sign of weakness that of course we can look out for. Kind of similar to what we saw. What we saw back here, okay, ultimately very similar to what we saw back here, and quite similar to what we saw back here as well. Okay, and then of course you had this bigger, sign of weakness as well, with of course these immense amount of long trades opening up. Of course, loads of them. Ounce. Ultimately, millions of them opening up at the high as well, and of course those getting trapped. Of course, I went into a little bit more detail with that yesterday. So yeah, if you want to get the details all on all of the details on that, then of course watch that live stream from yesterday. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I would be looking for a big sign of weakness. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that the bear market starts. Again, we were seeing big signs of weaknesses here. Right, price pulled back, but then we went for a new all-time high, and then of course, we only just got above all-time high, and then we started to show some big signs of weaknesses again, and for that much bigger short trade. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I think we're still quite far away from any major signs of weaknesses at this moment in time, but it is something that we have to consider. Again, always thinking 5 steps ahead, right? If you're not thinking 5 steps ahead, then of course you're not planned, right? You're not planned for that next scenario. So no major signs of weaknesses at the moment in time. So it's patience, right? Patience. Let's carry on trading these lower time frames. Okay, and then of course, like I've stated in previous live streams, I would like to build a big trade up for the potential bear market to come. But again, I need to see major signs of weaknesses. I don't see that yet. So, what does that give us? Okay, well, that gives us, the okay to long any backs that we see. And of course, we've been planning for so many long trades on these pullbacks, but unfortunately, we have front run quite a lot of the intended long trade levels. But hey ho, we move on. we look for the next trade, right? Ethereum, of course, pulling back a little bit here as well. It's been very just lagging behind this whole bull market, in all honesty. And we have seen a bit of weakness up here for the pullback. Exactly like we said, it's a bit of a bigger sign of weakness here on Ethereum, in all honesty, than we saw in Bitcoin. But nevertheless, if Bitcoin continues higher, I would expect Ethereum to at least recover to back above $4,000. That's kind of what I would look for if Bitcoin was to rally to all-time high again. Yeah, I mean, it's patience. Let's wait for that next trade setup. Of course, we've been pulling back. Great. We can come into those areas that we're interested in longing. But yeah, other than that, I think that's everything, in all honesty. I think that is everything. I think that's all I'm waiting for, really. Maybe a bit of a bigger pullback. Well, I mean, that's where I would like to see the longs, right? A bit of a bigger pullback into those areas that I deem high probability setups. Okay, in terms of the short trade, I want to see big signs of weaknesses before entering into a short trade now, really, because I mean the market is just so incredibly bullish. So yeah, let's remain patient. Let's wait and yeah, see what comes from yeah, the rest of this week. Hopefully we can get something in before the rest of the week. But yeah, I will leave that there. Have a lovely rest of your day. Any Visionary members, I will see you in the Visionary Discord for daily market updates, any updates that I've got for you. But yeah, any non-Visionary members, I will hopefully see you tomorrow for the next live stream. So yeah, take care. Have a lovely rest of your day and see you later.